Increased security around the Supreme Court justices just days after the Supreme Court marshal penned a letter to governors in Virginia and Maryland asking them to enforce laws to help protect the justices. Sunday, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told CBS News that the department has deployed resources to ensure the safety and security of the justices. He says the court's decision in overturning Roe v. Wade has heightened the threat environment. Our Joe Khalil is live from Washington, D.C. with the details. Joe, what more can you share about the security measures in place for the justices?
Well, it seems like the chief of the marshals here, Gail Curley, is just fed up with the protests so far, asking the states now to step in. She sent that letter, as you mentioned, to both Governor Larry Hogan and Glenn Youngkin in Virginia and Maryland, where these protests have been happening, where the justices live in those states, saying that it's going to be on state law enforcement to try to come in, step in, and remove these protesters. And she cited specific state laws that prevent protests from happening right outside of homes. You cannot picket outside of a home. Where it gets tricky, Mitch, is that it's not exactly clear if that law is being violated by these protesters. There's a very specific difference between protesting outside of somebody's home, sitting and parking and not moving, and then walking up a public street and a public sidewalk, demonstrating in a bigger protest that happens to go past and beyond the justices' homes. So it's a very specific distinction, but that's going to be the question. Are these protesters violating that law? And if they are, then state officials can come in, state law enforcement, and break these things up. But so far, we've seen the governors of both states and local law enforcement hesitant to do that, maybe because they're worried that these protesters haven't yet crossed that line of actually breaking the law. But that's where it stands right now. We've seen these protests for a week, and in her letter, the marshal of the Supreme Court actually cited that moment we've reported on extensively, where outside Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home a couple of weeks ago, a young man flew from California, got into a taxi, and went to his home with the intention of killing Justice Kavanaugh and then killing himself, according to his own admission when he called 911 on himself, that young man. So clearly there have been real threats. There have been real concerns. But so far, state law enforcement has not come in and stepped in. And in fact, the governors of both Virginia and Maryland have both made reference to the fact that they think it's the Department of Justice that needs to step in. So it may just be a question of which jurisdiction is the right one to take some serious action. In the meantime, we have not seen anybody come in and stop these protests, and we very well may see more protests outside the justices' homes so long as no law enforcement is coming in and breaking it up, Mitch.
And Joe, you said there's an important distinction between who is breaking the law, whether they're breaking the law, how they're breaking it. But it should be noted here, another important distinction, that these are existing laws that are on the books. They're not asking for additional protection or different protection, right? If this is just something that the marshal is saying, please enforce the laws that are already there.
That's exactly right. Both Maryland and Virginia have laws that specifically prevent protests where you have a number of people just demonstrating outside of one home, picketing outside of one home. These laws are already on the books. And we should also mention that President Biden did sign into law the bill that gives security, extra security for the Supreme Court justices and their families as well. That's one measure that's been taken. You're right to point out that what the Supreme Court marshal is asking for, beyond what President Biden has authorized, is just to enforce the laws that are already on the books in place. So it's an important thing that you point out. But again, the question is whether or not, if protesters are walking past those homes and not just sitting outside of them, if they're actually breaking those state laws. The Supreme Court marshal now saying yes, and she's asking state law enforcement to do something about it before something happens.
That is a really interesting distinction. If they make a circus out of the judges' neighborhoods, but they're continuing to walk up and down the street, they're just like members of any public that want to walk up and down the street, maybe with a dog and a baby carriage. But if they stop in front of the house, it's different. That is very interesting. I guess we'll have to see how it all shakes out. Joe Khalil, live in Washington, D.C. This morning for us. Thank you very much for that.